Right. You are welcome back to this class. In this session, we'll be talking about storage classes. Uh, Amazon S3 offers a range of storage classes designed for different use cases. All right. So when you upload your data into buckets, you can select the different classes as per the requirements from your client. For instance, we have been using S3 buckets with the default class, and the default class is the S3 standard. So all along, we have been storing our data using a particular default class, and that is S3 standard. So looking at the remaining S3 of storage classes, we have S3 intelligent theory, standard infrequent access, one zone infrequent access, Glacier, and Glacier deep archive. Depends on the client requirements, depends on the size, and depends on other factors. So, but basically, it depends on the requirements from your clients. All right, for instance, the first one is S3 standard, which of course we have been using. It is durable, it's available, and of course, performance object storage for frequent access data. So the data that needed to be accessed frequently, then you use S3 standard. What are the features? It's a default storage, as I've mentioned. If you do not specify any storage class, automatically S3 standard will pick for you. It has low latency and high throughput performance. It's 99.99% available and durable, meaning that if you store your data in S3 standard with the Amazon, so we expect an average of one single object to be lost at every 10,000 years. So that is telling you that it is 99.9 durable. So use case, when do we use S3 standard? In particularly when you are uploading a dynamic website, content distribution, mobile and gaming application, and of course, big data analytics. So if you want to use a class storage for all these I've mentioned, then you can go for S3 standard. The second one is S3 intelligent theory. So this is the only cloud storage class that delivers automatic storage, cost saving, when data access pattern change. When your data access pattern change, then your cost changes, and it doesn't affect the operation overhead. So in other words, this is the only storage class that goes with the pattern of the access to your data. Means if it is, the charges is based on access pattern, either it is frequent or not frequent, depends on the way it is being accessed. So it has two types. We have frequent and infrequent access. The advantage of this one is that it automatically detects based on the pattern of access. So if an object is frequently accessed, it moves to frequent access tiering. If it is not frequently accessed, it moves to infrequent access, and that varies your cost. What are the features? As I've mentioned, cost by automatically moving data to the most cost-effective storage access tier without performance impact or operational overhead. Number two, automatically optimize storage costs for data within changing access pattern. As we have mentioned, this is the only class that goes with pattern of assessment. So to provide low latency and high throughput performance, it also has 99.99% durability and availability. There is no additional cost when objects are moved from access tiers. That is when you move the object from frequent access and infrequent access. There is no charges for that. S3 monitor access pattern of the object and moves objects that have not been accessed for 30 consecutive days to infrequent access tier. Then if the object are accessed later, then S3 intelligent theory moving or we move the object back to the frequent access tier. So it comes in twofold. frequently accessed and infrequently accessed. So it depends on the pattern that you determine the charges. All right. So the next one is standard infrequent access. Just like you have mentioned, S3 standard infrequent is for data that is accessed less frequently, but it is required rapid access. You don't normally access the data frequently, but anytime you needed it, you must be able to access it rapidly when it is needed. So what are the key features? Number one, when data is accessed less frequently, but requires rapid access when needed. People don't access, they don't watch the film frequently, but anytime they want to watch it, it must be rapidly accessible. It has a lower fee than standard class, but when you are talking about the retrieval fee, they will charge you for that. Unlike standard S3, they will not charge you for the retrieval fee. But for this one, so it has a lower fee than S3 standard. But when you want to retrieve, they will charge. In S3 standard, they will not charge when you want to retrieve. So it is suitable for objects greater than 123 kilobytes. Smaller objects are charged for 123 kilobytes only. So it is being kept for at least 30 days. So it is charged for a minimum of 30 days. Of course, it is durable and it is available. Use case. Normally use infrequent for disaster recovery, for backup. So put it there, at least anytime you needed it, you can, of course, pick this up there. The next one is one zone, infrequent access. This one is also infrequent access, but the difference between this one and the infrequent access of the previous one is that this one is available in a single availability zone, unlike the other one. The other storage classes, they are available on a minimum of 3 availability zones. But one zone infrequent access stores data in a single availability zone. And of course, it is cost less than the other. But the disadvantage is once the only one availability zone is affected, the data is also affected. Features. We have said it earlier that when data is accessed less frequently but require a rapid access, you can use this one as well. It is optimal choice for the less frequently accessed data but does not require the availability of standard or standard IA storage class. It's also durable and it's also available. Suitable for objects greater than 128. All right. The S3 lifecycle management for automatic migration of objects to other S3 storage. You can migrate from one storage to another storage. Of course, data can be lost at one of the destruction of availability zone as it stores data in a single availability zone. I've mentioned it earlier, since it stores data in one availability zone, so there is tendency to have our data lost during the destruction of availability zone. Then the use case, secondary backup copies. You have your data on-premise already. You just want a secondary backup for the cloud, then you can use this particular class. Then the next one is Glacier. This one is a secure, durable, and low-cost storage class for data archiving. So, what are the key features? It's cheaper, but it can be used for archive only. We can store any amount of data at a lower cost than other storage classes. You can upload the object directly to the S3 Glacier. It is suitable for objects greater than 40 kilobytes and kept for at least 90 days. So it is also durable across multiple availability zones. Glacier storage class can be divided into 3 when we talk about retrieval option. Number 1, expedited retrieval, standard retrieval, and bulk retrieval. Now, if you want to retrieve your data after the 90 days, between 1 to 5 minutes, then you can use expedited retrieval. That can be used. Standard retrieval typically completes between 3 to 5 hours, and it's best for less time sensitive needs like backup, data, media editing, or long-term analytics. The last one is bulk retrieval. This one also attracts lower cost retrieval because if you want to retrieve or return a large amount of data within 5 to 12 hours, you are not in a hurry, then you can use bulk. Out of all the three, expedited retrieval is the most cost because you can retrieve your data within just 5 minutes. All right. Then the last one is S3 Glacier Deep Archive. This one provides more lowest cost data archiving when data access is infrequent and retrieval time of hour is also acceptable. What are the key features of Glacier Deep Archive? Suitable for objects greater than 40 kilobytes, kept for at least 180 days, unlike the Glacier for 90 days. Deep Archive is for 180 days. Lowest cost storage class designed for long-term retention of data that will be retained for 7 to 10 years. Retrieval time within 12 hours. Designed for 99.9 durability of object across multiple availability zones. All right, then it supports long-term retention and digital preservation for data that may be accessed once or twice in a year. Use case, financial services, healthcare, and public sector. So let's look at storage class performance. So these are the overall discussion in tabular form to compare all the 6 classes of storage. S3 standard, intelligent sharing, standard infrequent access, one zone infrequent access, S3 Glacier, S3 Glacier Deep Archives. All these are the classes of storage, but depends on the requirements of the client. Now let's just look at the hands-on. All right. So I will not bother to create another bucket. I'll just show you. So I have 3 buckets I've created. And of course, you can see that when you create the object, then when you create the bucket, you upload the object there. Then the objects will be uploaded and you can choose your type of storage. So for instance, look at this. So by default, storage class is standard when you upload your object, but I can change it. I can change. So just click on that object. Then under property, you can scroll down. You can see storage class, you can edit it. So we have standard, so you can change it to the requirements of your client. So you can edit. You can see all the classes of the storage. You can see standard, intelligent sharing, standard infrequent access, one zone, Glacier instant retrieval, Glacier flexible, Glacier deep archive. So all this, and based on everything we have said about them in terms of minimum storage duration, retrieval fee. So you can see that the standard S3 storage does not attract any retrieval fee. Others attract per gig. So if you retrieve less than 1 gig, you will not be charged. So with this now, you can change the class. So if I change this one to, probably because I don't need that that data the next 1 month. So I will go for this, at least the next 30 days. So I'll go for this. So let me save this, save the changes. Network. Let me refresh this. All right. So scroll down, storage class. Let me choose this intelligent sharing. You can choose any one. You can save this. Okay, maybe there is another issue. Let me refresh. That may be network. All right, you can see that it's network issue. So bucket. Let's look at the buckets. This is the objects property. Scroll down. Storage class. You can change it to this one and then save changes. Okay, successful. So let's go and check whether the class is changed for that particular object. Here is the object. You can see that it is the storage class has already changed to intelligent theory. So this is how to change your storage class, depends on the requirements. So in this module, we're able to cover the storage classes, feature of each of them, and depends on the requirements of the client to choose from either of the storage classes. So you can go through this documentation again and grab the concepts very well. Thank you very much. We meet in the next module.